Mr. Murti's in the house. Sweeny, how you doing, buddy? Tiki and Tierney, what's up?
Hi, fellas. How we doing today?
Fantastic. We've got a lot of questions. Obviously, a lot of things to celebrate. Fantastic game yesterday. Yankees are 4 wins away from the World Series. All right, let's first attack the roster. Now, we know that I know you know this, but for those who don't know yet, DJ is not on it. Benintendi is not on it. Marinaccio is not on it. Obviously, Hicks is off, and Gonzalez was left off, and I'm a huge proponent of that. Between the three guys that were injured, who was the closest? I would think it would have been Marinaccio, but am I right with that, with DJ, Benintendi, and Marinaccio?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure how Marinaccio's throwing sessions went. LeMahieu seemed to think he was pretty close. You know, LeMahieu seemed to act like he was ready to give it a go, but I think we've seen this really in the last month. We've seen it a couple of times, and if I'm choosing right now the best spot, let's weave this into what a lineup could look like, okay? I think we feel like Stanton in left field sounds like it would happen tonight.
Love it.
Which would mean Carpenter at DH.
Love it.
And if you're talking about where do you play LeMahieu, the only possible spots are okay if they bring in a lefty for Carpenter, but they don't have lefty relievers, so you're not using LeMahieu to bat for like Carpenter.
What about third base? What about third base for Donaldson? Start him.
Okay, but Donald at this point physically, Donaldson's a better defender.
Okay,
and I don't think you're willing to make that move at that point defensively too. So
okay,
I think you're searching for and this is on the. Maybe LeMahieu is good enough to play. Not, hey, LeMahieu's awesome, he's ready, let's put him in there. You're searching for a place on the hope that he's ready to play. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably why you're kind of, that to me, that's the biggest thing of why he's not on there.
That's interesting. Yeah, that is an interesting angle. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Do we have any idea whether or not Peraza is going to be out there, or is this just a versatility thing?
Yeah, it's a good question, Tiki. I don't know yet, because here's what I keep coming back to. Okay, they very consciously made a decision that he was not ready to play at the big league level in July or August or September. Now, they played him in September, but sparingly, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to play him in the ALCS. You're going to start him at shortstop in the ALCS. I have a hard time making that jump. Maybe they'll figure out a way to rationalize it, okay? But if they're going to start him, they have a lot of explaining to do as to why he wasn't playing, 30 or 40 games leading up to that.
But let me challenge you on that. And I'm going to incorporate Alvarez, who just had surgery, by the way, for the kid, outstanding catching prospect for the Mets. Mm-hmm. They're the same energy, like, hey, if you bring him up now and play him against the Braves, why wasn't he here earlier? Understood, it was a fair point then. But I think the circumstances for the Yankees almost necessitates a change. I don't know if you saw what I saw with IKF on that final out with the flip to Torres. That was a stab. That was not a very confident, let me cradle it in and bring it to my chest, and I've done this with my eyes shut 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times. That's a guy that I don't want in the middle of the diamond. So while Alvarez's weakness was actually defense, Peraza is an outstanding shortstop. He's better than anybody on the roster. I'd fully throw him out there at shortstop.
But I will tell you that I've been asking these questions since July.
Okay, and what did they say?
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and they kept insisting all along that Kiner-Falefa was good defensively, that his range mattered, and that Peraza was not ready yet, that he was not yet a finished product, okay?
Okay.
And that they were not ready to make that move. So if you're telling me for 3 months that you're not ready to make that move, you've got to explain to me why you are more confident in that now and why you weren't ready to make that.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because what's happened to IKF the last 3 months is
that was still happening in July. That's why I was asking the question. He wasn't Ozzie Smith in July, and I'm saying, yeah, you don't need him, okay?
I hear you.
I was asking those questions.
I know you were.
The answers that I was given was that this guy is the guy we want at shortstop. If you were telling me that as far back as even just 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, you have to explain to me why that's not the case now.
But I think that's easy. So if you're Sweeny, I'm Aaron Boone. Ask me the question right now, and I will answer it.
But I'm saying, I'm not playing role playing.
But Sweeny, I'll tell you. But Sweeny, hold on a second. I'll tell you what you're missing is this.
IKF was bad enough that you benched him in elimination games.
He's gotten far worse.
Okay, yes, but
That's
then
the answer.
Cabrera is your guy because you like his bat. You can't tell me Peraza is the guy in the ALCS.
I can.
He wasn't ready for you in August or September.
But they weren't right back then, so you don't need to compound it with being wrong
But
again.
that's what I'm saying. They have to tell me they were wrong.
But
they
Sweeny,
have to tell
but
me
they don't
were wrong.
have to
That's
tell
what I'm
you
saying.
that.
Explain
But
to me
Sweeny,
that
how
you were
else
wrong.
They don't have to.
Sweeny, how else do we rationalize Oswaldo Peraza on this roster then? Like, what's he going to do? Is he a reserve outfielder? Like,
No, I get it, Tiki. I'm with you. I'm like, but you have to tell me, okay, what has Oswald Peraza done that makes you more confident in him now? Because IKF had issues in the second half of the season, and your answer was to keep working with him on it and keep him as your shortstop.
Yeah, but
your answer wasn't.
I think
put
what BT
Oswald
was
Peraza
getting
in.
at is something dramatically changed in their
Yeah.
comfort level with him because
And I
they
need
did
them- and
they
that's
did
fine. I need
everything
them to
they
tell me
could.
that.
They need
I need them.
But I think
need them to.
but
I don't
Sweeny,
need
they
them to
don't-
rationalize. I
Hey,
need them
but
to
Sweeny,
tell me that.
I think they've already told us that
Correct.
because they went out of their way to
Yeah.
get Oswaldo Cabrera at shortstop, even after Aaron
Hicks
Hicks
got hurt. Correct.
They kept Cabrera at
That's the
shortstop
answer.
and put Marwin Gonzalez in left field. As
They did
opposed
tell
to
you.
And then in the
moving-
eighth and ninth inning, they had to have IKF out there. Okay, that game could have gotten
that's
tight.
because
it didn't.
that's because of the substitute. You know that the
I
substitution
understand
with
that,
Matt
but
Carpenter.
that's
and Matt
but they
Carpenter's
made
not
that
playing
move, and
left
that's where they
field.
went. Okay, they didn't have to make that move. They had a 4-run lead.
Yeah,
they
they wanted
didn't
to
need bat
pour it
Carpenter
on, but they
there.
wanted to pour it on. I mean,
Okay,
I get
yes,
what,
I
get
agree,
what
and it
Boone
was the right
decided
move to do. But then you put that guy at shortstop that you didn't want there in an elimination game. So now you have to explain to me why this is the right move. I'm with you. If he starts there, I'm fine. You've made that move, but you have to tell me why he wasn't there for the last 2 months.
So we're talking to Sweeny Murti, who is the outstanding WFAN Yankee reporter. Listen, I think that I want to throw this by you. Let's move on from the shortstop. So we all know where we stand. We've made our opinions known. Let's see what the Yankees do. So let's say I've got two scenarios for you. Yankees win tonight. Who pitches game 2? Yankees lose tonight. Who pitches game 2? Best of your guess.
I think it's Severino no matter what. You have fully rested, regular rest Severino for game 2. Then you have fully rested Garrett Cole for game 3. And because of the schedule, if you want to bring him back for 7, it's a day short. You get into trouble. The way you get into trouble with these guys is continually pushing them short. Short. At some point, you've got to even it out again. And I think this gives you the opportunity to do it. Severino is outstanding.
Yep.
He pitched very well against the Astros earlier this year. He pitched well in your playoff game. You have him on regular rest, ready to go for game 2. I don't think it's a question. I don't think it's a question at all because then you have regular rest for Severino, Cole, and Cortez, 2, 3, and 4, and then you can maneuver again on short rest if you need later in the series.
Gotcha. What was your thought on pulling Cortez, who was pitching a soft contact after 5? I would have been cool with one more.
I thought you could have gone one more.
Yep.
And see, here, I thought ideally what they were hoping to do, I thought, was get him through the middle of the order a second time. Get him through the Ramirez, Gonzalez, Naylor a second time. He did that. But he did it so efficiently, minus 1 inning. The third inning is the only inning they taxed him. He's at 61.
Yep.
I really thought they could have gone to get him through that Jose Ramirez spot one more time before going to Loaizaga. I really thought that was, another 12, 13 to 15 pitches.
Yep.
I thought you could have done that on 3 days. I don't think they taxed him that much. But, they ended up having Loaizaga for 2, and it worked for them.
Yeah, no, the other thing, I mean, we know who's starting tonight is Jamison Taijuan. And we had this conversation before the rain delay about Aaron Boone's mindset messaging, because I think that's really important, and especially in the postseason. What is he telling Jamison Taijuan? We need you, to get a 6, or is he saying this is somewhat of a bullpen session? Like what of a bullpen game?
Like for today?
Yeah, for today. What are they telling Jamison Taijuan? Because in our minds, I think some of us are thinking Jamison Taijuan's a bullpen guy right now. And what's the bullpen going to look like after this game is done?
No, I think he's a starting pitcher just like anybody else in this right now, and the game will dictate. If the game starts getting away from you early, obviously you've got Montas now who has length to him, so you can make that move. You can get aggressive, but if it's rolling, listen, you throw up a 3 spot in the first inning again, you dictate how the bullpen, whoever gets the lead dictates how they use their bullpen, right? If you can do that, you can ride that. I think that's part of the reason they rode Cortez a little bit further yesterday.
Yeah.
If that game was tighter, Cortez isn't pitching 5 innings; he's probably pitching 3. They jumped out to that lead and could milk that a little bit. I think Taijuan's in the same spot with Montas as your parachute here to give you length. But I think I think if this game plays out well with a couple of runs early, I don't think there's any question that you take Taijuan through 5 to 6 and see what you can get.
Sweet. I probably final thing for me, unless something else develops based on how you answer. But obviously I'm on the record. I want to see Stanton and left. I need to see 20-something at bats in this series against the Astros. Otherwise, you're just not matching their power. Tucker, Bregman, Alvarez, Pena, Altuve. You got to score some runs here. But do you envision a possible situation, given the dimensions of Houston, where left field is short, and obviously here where right field is short, where provided Carpenter's hitting a little bit and Stanton's healthy, where you can see some flip-floppage where he plays left in Houston and right in the Bronx, or no?
I think, but then that means the Judge has to play center and
Bader goes to left, which I don't love.
I don't love that.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I don't love that. I want to see how this plays out before we get there. I don't see it because now you're putting too many people out of position, and I think you're risking that. But one thing about Houston, this isn't the same offensive juggernaut we're used to seeing. Okay, remember, they've lost Springer, they've lost Brantley, they've lost Correa. I know they have Alvarez. Okay, but you've got a team that did struggle.
Yeah, and Alvarez struggled mightily. I mean, he was in a massive slump.
I mean, you're talking about a team that went 17 innings without scoring. Okay, you're talking about a team that got shut out twice by the Orioles in September. You're talking about a team that isn't quite scoring the way maybe we think we know the Astros are scoring. And the Yankees have pitched to them pretty well. In the game they got no hit, Garrett Cole allowed 1 run. Luis Severino pitched very well against them. I think the Yankees can pitch with this team. And I think I think we have to look at this team as, they're really good, and this is who you have to go through. But I don't think it's the same offensive juggernaut that we've gotten used to seeing before.
All right, less than a minute. Give us your starting lineup. Expert, insider, reporter of the Yankees. Starting lineup for tonight. What's it going to look like?
I guess they're probably going to stick with Torres up top there because they don't have LeMahieu in there. So Torres, Judge, Rizzo seems like it makes the most sense.
Yep.
You've got to get Carpenter in there, so I wonder if you move him up a little bit. But If Cabrera is at shortstop, then he's probably in the middle of that 5-6 somewhere. If it's Peraza at shortstop, he's probably 9th, and you're probably moving Carpenter up. I could see that. I could see Peraza at short batting 9th with Carpenter somewhere in the middle of that line.
Does the catching situation change at all this series?
I don't think so. I think it's Trevino pretty much. You start every game with Trevino, I think, unless you have a particular pitcher. Who did they start Higashioka with?
That was game 3, Higashioka.
They started him with Severino?
Yes.
So, maybe. I think it also depends on how the game plays out. But remember, that's also the spot. This is where it's different if you're starting Carpenter because the catcher is exactly the spot where you pinch hit Carpenter for and then switch out. So you might see maybe a little bit more of the alternating because you can't just flip out mid-game with those guys.
I did lie. I got one more for you, 30 seconds. This is good enough where I'm okay going a little late here. It's a bigger picture question. We talk about the Yankee aura, right? To me, and I made this assertion earlier in the show, and I know they haven't won since 2009, but the aura and the lineage is what it is. Not that what happens in this series changes anything about Ruth or Garrick or DiMaggio, et cetera. But if you lose to the Astros again, okay, for the third time in basically half a decade, I think the Yankees' aura takes a dent. I think it has to. It has to.
I mean,
it's got to.
I think it already has. Because
but I mean even more.
Listen, I think the biggest mistake, I've said this before, I think the biggest mistake a Yankee fan can make right now is thinking that the next World Series they win is followed by 3 or 4 more. The game is not designed that way anymore. The game is not built that way, okay? The dynasty spoiled a lot of things. The Yankees could win this year, and let's say the Yankees win this year and they re-sign Judge. Don't think that you're winning 3 of the next 4 World Series after this.
Yep.
It is really hard to do. Look at what the Dodgers just did. I mean, I think that whatever we think of Yankee aura and how, dynasties and all that, you got to leave all that behind. But that said, in the present, they have to go through Houston, and Aaron Judge needs a World Series championship if he's going to be one of these landmark Yankees. He already is to a degree.
Yep.
He needs a championship.
Great stuff, man. That's why you're Sweeny, and that's why we're not. Sweeny Murti on the scene. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, fellas.
All right. Like it, like old school with Francesa and Murti going back and forth. Getting loud in here. Getting hot in here, getting loud in here. I love it.
Loud for no reason because you were saying the same thing.
Yeah, whatever. 877-337-6666.